If we understand the Bible, you can see the river in the Genesis. There was a river in the Garden of Eden. And you can see there is a river on Revelation, last chapter. So the Bible is starting with the Genesis, and there was a river. Can you read from Genesis, Genesis chapter 2, verse 8?
And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden.
Now, there is a river was flowing from the Garden of Eden to water the garden. What I wanted to tell you is, you can see the importance of rivers in the Bible. Not exactly the rivers, but I can call the streams of life. You can see that the same river, what Ezekiel was seeing, which started from the doors of the temple, and you can see the same kind of a river in Revelation 2. So what it represents, the streams represent the move of the Holy Spirit. When God created a garden and He created a river to water every plant in the garden. Now, if you need to understand that the river and cloud, it is representing the same thing. A river and the cloud. And a river is the move of the Holy Spirit. Cloud is also representing the Holy Spirit. Now, okay, do you want to read Ezekiel 47 from verse 1?
Then he brought me back to the door of the temple. There was water flowing from under the threshold of the temple towards the east. For the front of the temple faced east. The water was flowing from under the right side of the temple, south of the altar.
Okay, so can you read verse 3?
And when the man went out to the east with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the water. The water came up to my ankle.
So we can see it started as little, but as it was going, it was increasing. It started in the level of his ankle, then the level of his knees. And we can see it reached in a place he cannot cross unless he swim through that. How long you sustain in the stream is going to determine how deep you will go. How long you can sustain in the stream. So now, when you understand a stream, when you study about a river, one thing we have to understand, who created the river? Nobody can create a river. Tell me any river that human being could create it. Because only God could create rivers. In the natural, if only God can create a river, what about in the spirit? Because only God can give us a movement. Only God can move when He wants. So what we need is, there are two kinds of people that I spoke last week also. The people who are getting benefit out of the river, and there are people who are living in the river. So the problem with the revival is, why we cannot enter into a revival is, if you are in a river, you can't decide which way the river will go. You have to go the way the river is moving. You can't tell the river, I am busy today, tomorrow I will come. The more that you away from the river, the more the river is flowing. Your 1 day absence is equal to maybe 1 kilometer of, backsliding in a movement, something like this. Because when you come back, the God has already moved far away from that point where you left him. And the second thing is, who can decide the depth of the river? Because if you decide, I don't need much, I don't need to get into, so deep. But the river is going to decide in what depth that the river has to flow. So ultimately what I was able to say is, you can decide the direction, you can decide the destiny, you can decide the momentum of a river, because the momentum of a river is completely depends on the way it was flowing. So what we can do is, we can flow with the river. And that is what exactly Holy Spirit is looking. Let me tell you, maybe you are thinking that, is it right? I'll bring in from the Old Testament. When they came out from the Egypt, God wanted to take them to the promised land. And God did not use the river. Instead of, God used the cloud. Now, who is deciding when to move? The cloud is deciding when to move. Who is deciding the speed of their movement? The cloud is, and whoever is not synchronized with the cloud, they are left behind. That is why a Sunday Christians will not be able to move along with the God, because you don't know when God is moving. God is not moving only on Sunday. No. God is not only moving on Monday. No. God is not only moving on Wednesday. No. So if you are really wanted to be carried by God, one thing that you need to look for is when the cloud is moving. I'm not teaching another point. I'm prophesying to some of you. Because why you are stuck in your life is because when the cloud was moving, you couldn't recognize God was moving. Because you are too busy with engaging certain things. You know what God said? You look into the cloud. If the cloud is up, you need to take your tent out of the place, because you can't stuck in your tent when God is moving, because your protection is under the cloud. Your provision is under the cloud. Your movement is under the cloud. Some people are too fool to say that if they don't go with certain things, they won't get the promotion. But let me tell you, promotion is under the cloud. So, what I wanted to tell you is the cloud can give you manna. The cloud can open door for you. Look at their life. God did not bring the river for them, because naturally it was desert. But God showed them a cloud. Read from Exodus 40, verse 34 to 38. Let me read it from NLT. Now, whenever the cloud lifted from the tabernacle, the people of Israel would set out on their journey, following it. Did you get that word? And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journey. That means what we need to understand is this, and how the cloud is moving. Because you don't have any option to be under the cloud without moving with the cloud. This is why when not everybody will be part of a revival. Because you can't be a part of a revival and can be your choice whenever you want to come under the cloud. No, you have to be under the cloud when cloud is moving. Whenever God is moving, you have to move. So why God cannot bring revival most of the time is God is not getting people in his hand. I'm not only taking the water through the earth. What is the cloud? What is a cloud? Tell me how the cloud is made. Some people thought only the water, they can touch it, they can feel it. But there is a water that can stay up. There is a water that can stay up. And there is a water that can move without any direction. So who is deciding the direction of the cloud? The cloud is moved by the God. What is representing that? When God wanted to move, you have to be ready to move the way Holy Spirit is moving. How long you will be a Christian that you go and confess with God, God, I was away from you for the last 1 week. Sorry, Lord. How long we will worship Him like that? At least today we should say no to that and say that, Lord, no, I'm putting an end for it, and I'm coming back to you. When you move, I will move. When you stop, I will stop. When your cloud is stopping somewhere, I'm ready to put my tent on there. It doesn't matter whether it's a desert. It doesn't matter whether it's in front of a river. It doesn't matter in front of a Red Sea. I'm ready to move because cloud is my. Oh, Ramana Shakalabaragania. Dhiramana Kashasiyana Dhara. And listen, only people who has gaze on the cloud can move, not on the earth. Because that is what God is moving. And we, as I say, we don't need to do anything to be outdated. You just sleep one night. Think about the movement of Israelites. We celebrate, we preach, we see, we tell that, they saw wonders and miracles. How come they saw wonders and miracles? Think about that your plan for tomorrow, that you are going to have, a party with your friend. But cloud is moving tonight. What you will do? So they didn't have any choice. If they had choice, they would, left behind. And this season, what we need to understand most importantly is, this is not everybody will understand this. Believe me, not everybody will understand this, because not everybody has the grace to understand the move of God. They don't even feel the presence of God in their life. Then how can they understand when God is moving? I'm not judging them. But I mean, we have to be sensitive to the seasons. We have to be sensitive to the movement, what's happening around us. We have to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit, not only when you get the goosebumps. We have to be sensitive to this season, how God is moving. So that is why when God is connecting you with a stream, you have only two choices. Either you flow with the stream, or you can just take the benefit out of it. Some of you are called for the ministry. Some of you have a great call. But what happens is, only the river can take you to the promise. Only the cloud knows the pathway to the promise. Somebody has to take this promise. It's a prophetic word for some of you. God has His own way. What is available in the desert? There is nothing. Come on, what is available in the desert? There is nothing. And this people doesn't have any seed. I spoke about seed. It is good. But this people doesn't have any seed. But God said, I don't need a seed. I don't need any fertile land to provide you. All I need, be under the cloud. You sleep under the cloud. Morning you get up. There will be manna around your tent. You sleep. There is a season that God is opening. You don't need to pray for miracle. Miracle will follow you. You don't need to cry out for deliverance. The deliverance will follow you. God is about to surprise some of you. Because all these are under the cloud. All these are under the cloud. When Moses and Aaron went to the tabernacle, the cloud will come down. Because that was the glory of God. And when the cloud lifted from there, was taken off from over the tabernacle, then they know, okay, oh my God, I was ready to make the breakfast. But every husband will tell their wife, no, we can see the cloud is moving. It is not the time for cooking, it is the time for packing. We have to understand the urgency in the spirit in this generation when God is moving. I prophetically, I wanted to revive some of you. Because I want some of you to open your eyes and see how God is moving in this generation. I don't want you to come back after 3 months and say that, oh, sorry, I missed it. What happened, Lord? And I just came for a prayer because I need a deliverance. No, that is not for such kind of people. The river is for people who can flow with the river. Have you seen desert any time? Because of the heat from the sun, the atmosphere is too hot. And the first time when I realized that the sand in the desert is too hot than the sunlight. So you can't even take a step. Because wherever you put the step, that's a fire. Not the fire from the Lord. But this is the only time people will run where I can have some peace. That is church is not for such kind of people. Let them come here. Church is for people who continually stay under the cloud. Church is not an option to escape from your problem. Church is the solution to stay without having any problems. So what I wanted to say is, if we miss that synchronization with the movement, we lost it. So when we come to this generation, we are too organized. We can't even change our schedule for God. Sorry if I offended somebody. We are too important. I still remember in my beginning days of ministry, I was preaching in a house, and Holy Spirit told me, tell that person, it is not when you want, God will bend down. If you can bend down when God wants, God is going to lift your life. And I said, stop scheduling your prayer life. You think you're praying for 15 minutes every day and said, Lord, and after the 15 minutes, you are nowhere in the presence. And you think that you are the best Christian because you pray for 15 minutes. And God said, I'm not her servant to come when she calls. I also need her when I call also. We are too good. We are too good in the other side. Everybody teaches we have to pray. Why? What about when God is calling you? Where are we when God is calling us? Where are we available for the river to flow? If the Holy Spirit wanted to take you to next level, where are we? And if anybody doesn't like it, only dead people can flow through the river. Only dead people can flow through the river without having any trouble. Because if you have something left in your flesh, what you want when you see something on the sides, you wanted to get out of it. Because that is what many times what will happen if you are in the river on Sunday and Monday. When Tuesday you found something on the side of the river, so you just wanted to get out of the river and you wanted to go and taste it, how it looks like. Then on Tuesday coming back to the river, but by the time the river has gone, we are too stubborn sometimes that we can't change. Some of us are wrestling with God. God, you come down and change me. God is telling the river will flow. You can't see Holy Spirit in a villain role in the Bible. Villain is right word? Or you can see the Holy Spirit in the Hollywood actors, like coming with the gun and kicking the door and getting out of your house and changing you. No, he will not put his gun on your head and asking you to change. No, it is your choice whether you wanted to live or die, whether you wanted to move or no. My duty today is to share the word. This is how it is flowing. This is how I wrote it yesterday when Holy Spirit said, God said, who decided the pathway of the river? I wrote it the same way. Who can create a river? other than me? Who can decide when a river to flow? Who can decide the depth of a river? If these things, when these things are happening, and if we don't move with God, I think we are lost. I know there is, the Holy Spirit is wrestling with some of your heart, because now you know this is not the life the Holy Spirit really wants you to live. I'm not preaching it simply because I have a few points. No, I clearly sense the atmosphere here. There is a wrestling happening in some of your heart that, the stream supposed to take you far, but your priorities are different. Your eyes are on different things. And you think going and taking, as I said, going and taking in a bath in the river is the biggest thing. No. The more you be in the river, some people will ask me like, how can I die myself? The easiest way to die yourself, jump into the river. It will only take few minutes if you are in the river. The things that you couldn't change, you will not know that when it is changed because you are under the river, under the stream. Because the water has its own way to get into your system and hijack your system. That is how, when you are under the presence of the Lord, what happened when Moses came down? Did the other people saw the fairest cream he put on his face, or his skin was glowing because of the glory? So what it means, the chemical that you buy from the beauty shop is, what he experienced was so better than the chemical that we buy from the beauty shop, because it will take only for one day. But they said, you have to put a covering on your face, because the glory of God got into his skin and changed the manner of the color and the manner of the skin. That means that really the river got into the system and changed the way he was appearing. And we are sitting here, Lord, change me. God is telling, there is a river that you can change. There is a river that you can the areas that you couldn't die from yourself, that there is a river that you just jump into it. I'll tell you, you don't even know when sometimes your characters are changing, because the river is going inside. How can somebody live in the river? Unless your system has changed to live in the river. You ask a fish, the fish will tell that I can live in the river. But you ask a bird, the bird will tell, no, I will die. That is called transformation. Biologically, you created in this world to live in this world. But as long as you go deeper into the river, the system is changing according to the river. And you are changing day by day. Now it will come to a time that you can't live without the river. You ask Paul, he will say that, he said, I consider my death is a gain for me, because as long as I live here, it is a waste of time. Because the more I stay here, I feel like I'm not in the river, because my whole system is synchronized with the river. My thoughts are in the river. My ambitions are in the river. Whenever I think about something, I think about the river. Now you take your fish out of the river, it won't survive for some time. Some of you are so much enjoying the world. Now you know that if you miss a prayer meeting, you have something in your heart. You don't know why kind of a disturbance is happening, because your system already changed without knowing. Now you're changing into the system which can sustain in the river. Ramana Shakala Rabaniya, Zigana Dharama. Let me tell you, whatever the enemy attacked you outside the river will not be attacking you inside the river. Some of you are fighting with a lot of temptation. Oh, you are fighting hard. You are kicking the enemy, hitting the enemy. What you need to do is you jump into the river. That's all. Because the river is not for everyone. When the Israelites, they went through the Red Sea, the enemy thought they can also cross it. But that sea, that door was open only for the people under the cloud. Oh, some of you are getting it. It is open only for the people who are under the cloud. Now, you think that, just because they are going through it, you can also go. No, because there is a difference. They are under the cloud, not you are under the cloud. If you can't move with the cloud, how will you expect that you will go to the cloud? You're too busy to stay under the cloud. Now you think that you can meet him on the cloud. No, it is not possible. It is a training that you need to learn, that to stay under the cloud. Then he will come to you to take you on the clouds. I sense there are encounters are going to happen during nights. Some of you get ready. Get ready. Some of you, God is going to visit. I'll tell you, there will be testimonies here that God has visited some of you in the night. Ramana Shekele Maria, Derakaramane. Because I know there is an open heaven in this place. It doesn't matter only few people. It doesn't matter only few people. God is looking for only few people who can move under the cloud, move with the cloud, move with the river. Destinies are being restored in the cloud. The whole thing what I done in my life is I wanted to move and God is moving. No. If you ask me what is the next plan for the next year, I don't know. If you ask me maybe half an hour before what all things you are going to preach, I'm saying I don't know. Because what I want is my eyes are upon the cloud. If he moves, I wanted to move. I don't care who is left behind because he is the only one who died for me.